Well, I've decided to tell some stories about my life. They're just so fun stories that I think people will appreciate them. I hope you do. There's a lot of them, and I don't know where I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start with one from 1970. 47 years ago, I was a young man, and I was 23. And I worked for a company called American Youth Hostels. They're out of New York City. And the job was, I was going to be a guide and adventurer and take people, 10 kids from New York City to live out different adventures. And I worked for them for 2 summers, and I took kids on lots of adventures. But this is one particular part of one adventure that I want to tell you about, because it's really was remarkable in a way. I was working, this one trip that I took was to work on the Navajo reservation. We went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we rented a van. I put 10 kids in the back of the van, and I drove them around. And we drove to Gallup, New Mexico, and then we went from Gallup, New Mexico, south towards the Zuni reservation. And we went to 2 different BIA schools, that's Bureau of Indian Affairs schools, where we were going to sit and help teach the kids how to speak English, because it was very difficult. In the summer, they didn't have school, they didn't have access to anybody speaking English to them, so they would kind of forget their English, and we were there to help out with that. And we were out there. I mean, we were at the school I stayed at was called Bread Springs. I can't remember what the other name was of the other school we stayed at. We stayed about a week at one and then a week at the other, about that much time anyway. And I had 10 kids with me, some boys, some girls, all between the ages of 14 and 16. And it was an adventure. I mean, it really was. The first day of going to the Bread Springs school, when we got off the main road and we got onto the mud road, and it was mud, and I had to slow down and go very, very slow. And meanwhile, the Navajo people that were used to that road, they were flying by me and going around where there was no place to pass, but they seemed to be knowing what they were doing much better than I was. So we survived, and we got to the school, and we stayed at the school for a week, and we went to another school for a week. And it was kind of unexciting. I liked playing with the kids. All my kids liked playing with the kids. But then there wasn't that much to do after school, so we did that for 2 weeks, and then we were off free for another 2 weeks to just have our own adventures. And we ended up driving from there to California, through Nevada to California, up the coast of California, and over to the Colorado Rocky Mountains. So we did a lot of traveling after that. But one day we went on an adventure while we were at school. It was while we were still at the school program. And I piled everybody in the truck, and we went down to the Zuni reservation. Now, Zuni is famous for their jewelry. Their Native American jewelry, and it's beautiful. And on our way down to visit that, we didn't really have a plan of what we were going to do, just visit. There was a sacred site. It's a butte. It's a mesa, and it's a sacred mesa to the Zuni Indians. And I'm sorry to be telling you the story because we weren't really supposed to be there. That's one of the things that I'm not good at, is following directions, and we really weren't supposed to be there. But I thought, what an adventure it would be to climb up to the top of this mesa and have an experience. So we do that. We drive over to where the bottom of the mesa, and a mesa is this big circular or square or whatever shape it is. It's this mound of earth that comes out of the ground, and it was high. And we weren't prepared for hiking. It was just out of the seat of the pants kind of thing. So we get out of the van and we start hiking up the mountain, and there's a path, the trails, and it's rigorous, and it's hot. It's summer in the desert, and it's hot. And as we're going up, one of the young people on my trip, and I had 10 people. One of them was really challenged emotionally. She was struggling a lot in her own personal life, and was scary to me because I wasn't sure that she wasn't suicidal, and as it worked out, she didn't complete the trip with us because she really didn't get along with any of the other kids, and so. But anyway, she's on this part of this trip with us, and not everybody can keep up. And some people decide they don't want to go up, and she was one of the people that decided she doesn't want to go any further, and that she's going to go back and wait for us at the truck, which is again not necessarily a good idea on my part to leave her alone. But I want to continue up this path, and we get to a place where it gets really steep, and there's embedded in the stone is a steel ladder that we have to climb up and then go to the next level of the mesa to get up to the top. By the time I got to the steel ladder, I was tired, I was hot, we didn't bring any water with us. Again, this was not a well planned out adventure. There's a lot of, almost every part of this was not well conceived. But here we go, and a couple of the guys, or 3 or 4 of the guys, and maybe some of the girls go up to the top, and they have their experience. And I'm kind of waiting for them at the bottom of the ladder because I know that's the way they're going to come down. And so I'm waiting, and they come down, and we wend our way back down the mesa, down to the base where the truck is. And lo and behold, that young girl, this really small young girl, isn't there. And I'm thinking there's any number of places on this mesa where she could have decided to take her life and jump. And now I'm scared. I'm really scared for her. But we have to take. The only thing I can think of is maybe there's a chance that she is all right, and she's just lost on the mesa. So now, without water, in the heat of the day, I decide to climb back up the mesa. This is the man who couldn't finish it the first time. I've got to climb back up at least to the ladder to see if I can find her. And one of the kids on the trip was 16, had a driver's license. I send him off to Zuni to contact the Zuni police, who are not going to be happy that we're there. I'm guessing that this is going to be really a big problem, and now I'm up to here in trouble. And but we've got to save this, find this girl. That's the first and foremost. So he goes off to the village. I'm staying there. The other kids, I don't think, came up the mountain with me again. I think I went up there alone the second time. And I'm calling out for her, and I'm looking for her, and I'm getting nowhere. And I can't, I've gone up farther than I know she's gone, so I know she hasn't gone any farther up than this, because I remember where I left her. So I decided to come back down again. Remember, now it's hours later. There's still no water in our bodies. I'm running on fumes for sure. The exercise alone is enough to make me tired, and I'm not thinking all that clearly. But the Zuni police show up with some Zuni native tribesmen, and they're going to help us look. And these guys go up that mountain like it's nothing. I mean, for them, it was like a run in the park. They're up to the top of this thing in a short time. It's very fast, very well. They're used to it. It's their story. It's their place. And they're running around now on the top looking for her. And I'm standing down next to the police chief, and he's got a guy standing next to him who's looking up on this mountain. And when they say Native Americans have a different sense of vision, they are not kidding. This guy is standing down there, and he's looking up there, and he's saying, I see movement up there. I see movement. And I'm going, what? Where do you see movement? There's nothing. He's pointing at this place. I'm seeing no movement whatsoever. Now, I've got 20/20 vision with my glasses on, so I should be seeing something up there. Nothing. I can't see a thing. Every time, and I'm getting lower and lower and lower, thinking, oh my God, she jumped, and she's in some arroyo, she's stuck somewhere, she's, whatever. And as I'm looking up and looking up and looking up, I look down and I look over to where the edge of the mesa is, and walking around the back of the mesa, around the edge, is the girl. She got lost coming down and came down the back side of the mesa, and had taken a long time to walk around back to the truck. Oh my God, was I thrilled to see her and everyone else. We never got arrested. They didn't do anything to us. So it didn't turn out to be a disaster in that way, and it didn't turn out to be a disaster in that we found her and everybody was okay. But I'm just trying to share with you some of the stories of my life that have been really adventures, and I'm not saying, certainly I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy on the block, because I shouldn't have been there in the first place. I recognize all that. I was a 23-year-old kid. I probably wasn't afraid of anything at that time in my life. Well, I know I wasn't afraid of much in that time in my life. And I took a chance, but, I'm not recommending this for anybody else. I just wanted to share some stories with you about my life. There's more like this. If you like them, just, you'll see them show up on YouTube. I'll let you know that they're there. And I hope you appreciate it. I enjoyed telling the story. Bye for now.